Welcome to Kiss and Tell. Today we're going to start off this new episode and we're going to give a shout out to our new listeners around the world. We are now in, I believe, 4 continents and several
4 or 5.
Yeah, in several different countries. We have listeners from France, Germany, the Czech Republic,
Brazil,
the Philippines, New Zealand. We have about 12 states in America where we have listeners. So we want to say thank you for your support. We appreciate every one of you. And please subscribe and tell your friends and family so we can continue doing this and grow this channel. TJ, how you doing out there in podcast land?
Doing great. Beautiful evening. Thanks to everybody. I want to give a good shout out to everybody that's been supporting us, whether positive or negative. We want to thank you for your support. Anybody else, please spread the word, share our podcast if you got any ideas or if you want to leave any comments. If you got a Kiss story you want to tell, or if you got a question or anything, drop us a line. We'd be happy to either answer it or, we'd love to hear your stories about the band. We'd love to hear your comments. So please, again, we thank you for your support.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If you got a question or comment, please leave it in the comment section and we'll address it on air in the next episode. And we want to also talk about the passing of Bob Kulick. He was a ghost musician for Kiss. He played on Alive 2, Side 4. He played on Kiss Killers. He played on Paul Stanley's solo album, which I was listening to last night. And I got to say, one of my favorite Paul Stanley songs of all time is that song where it's like, Tonight You Belong to Me. There we go. And he was a great musician. He did a lot of side projects and as part of history. TJ, what do you have to say about the great Bob Kulick?
Definitely sad day. We want to give a shout out to his family at this difficult time. We're with you. Bob was a very talented guitarist. He did a lot of work with a lot of bands. I remember him from his work with Wasp, who, my opinion, very underrated band. But I know he did work for Diana Ross. And didn't he do – you were saying something about SpongeBob?
Yes, he did a song for SpongeBob SquarePants.
That was interesting. I know that. So definitely a sad day. So, yeah, we want to give a shout-out to his family. We're with you and we're praying for you. But thank you, Bob, for your inspiration, your leadership, and what you brought to rock and roll. So definitely a sad day for rock and roll here.
And if he's half as nice as his brother Bruce, I met Bruce in Puerto Rico – in San Juan, Puerto Rico at the Hard Rock Cafe. And Bruce was just a total gentleman and a great guy. And if he's half as nice as his brother, then he's obviously a great, great man. So,
yeah, definitely sad. So, Bob, thank you for everything.
So, TJ, you were telling me earlier today about a song from Candlemass.
Yeah, this probably doesn't have anything to do with Kiss, but yeah, as I've said before, I'm a huge Black Sabbath fan, and Tony Iommi is known for his monstrous riffs. And I was going through, just killing some time on YouTube and everything, and I came across this band Candlemass that Chris and I would make fun of and everything. Actually, a talented band. I think they're out of Sweden or something like that. But they have a song. It's called Astralis or Astoralis or something like that. But Tony Iommi provide the riff and the guitar work for it, and Chris, I'm not going to lie to you, probably the heaviest riff I've heard out of Tony Iommi in 30 years. It was a straight kick in the nuts. It was incredible. So if you're out there, you want to hear a good guitar riff, Black Sabbath guitar riff, check that song out. It's called Astralis or something by Candlemass.
Well, if it's one of Tony Iommi's heaviest riffs ever, that's saying something because he is definitely one of the greatest riff masters in history.
And that's saying a lot of stuff because he said he has a whole book full of riffs that he just pulls out of nowhere.
Yeah, we love Tony Iommi. We love Black Sabbath, and I'm sure in future podcasts we will get deeper into the Black Sabbath catalog. And right now I want to bring on straight from Jackson, Tennessee.
Let me hear ya.
AKA TATERBUG, the brother of the one and only Red Devil. This is the one and only Tommy Barnes. Tommy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. I love being here.
Awesome. Awesome. Glad to have you.
Tommy, can you tell the fans out there how you got into Kiss?
I started listening to them back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, they were the in thing back then. I mean, started listening to them, loving them, listened to them ever since. I mean, just huge fan of them.
And who is your favorite member?
Well, you got to like all of them, but I guess if I had to pick one, it had to be Ace.
Yeah.
Do you mean Ace Frehley or Tommy Faker?
The member formerly known as Ace, but now dressed up as Ace, we call him Space Ace, but his name is Tommy Taya.
So
I think we can all agree that Ace is our favorite member of Kiss. We're all three in agreement on that.
Oh yeah, his style was just unmatched by the other guys.
How cool is Ace Frehley? And you know what? He's very underrated among modern rock fans. Of course, people our age, he's definitely not underrated. We all appreciated his abilities. But the rock fans, I say, that started coming around in the 90s and even up to today, most of them, they piss on him. They don't give him respect. And then when they hear the people they love talk about, hey, Ace was my guy, and that's the reason I play, and he's my favorite, they still don't give him respect. And I think one of the best guitarists out there currently in the rock scene is a guy by the name of John Five. He's the guitar player for Rob Zombie. I mean, he's a super talented guy. And technically, Ace couldn't touch this guy. But John Five was doing a song, Mr. Speed, as a cover for a band here, I think in the last week. And his band is the lead singer for Anthrax, and it's John Five, and it's a couple of guys from, I think, Trickster. And they did the cover of Mr. Speed off the Rock and Roll Over album. And John Five, which is just this amazing guitarist, he obviously was the Ace. He dressed up like Ace, and he played Ace's solo. And even though that solo's not very hard to play, Ace had such great vibrato and style that even John Five, I was listening to, I was like, that's not near as good as Ace. And it's not because he's not a good enough player, because he could play circles around Ace, technically speaking, but it's just about feel and vibrato. And he doesn't get enough respect from the modern rock fans. They kind of look at him as a gimmick. Oh, he had to wear makeup and shoot rockets, so how good is he really? He's actually really, really freaking good.
Yeah, he is. And a lot of metal bands like Dimebag Darrell, who a lot of people consider is in the top tier of guitar gods, he worshiped the ground Ace Frehley and Eddie Van Halen walked on. But, for somebody like Dimebag Darrell, who absolutely worshipped Ace Frehley, Ace Frehley spoke at his funeral. So that's kind of the tribute. But I think a lot of people just don't know really about Kiss. They know the shows, but they see some guy on there, in some makeup playing a guitar. They don't know what Ace is all about.
Yeah, and that's a great point, TJ. And John Five, I'm not bashing him. I love John Five. And that solo I saw him do live in concert with Rob Zombie, that's one of the greatest solos I've ever seen in person. I loved his solo. And I respect the heck out of that guy. And he's a big Ace fan, and so is Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine, who inducted Kiss into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And if you've never seen his induction speech when he inducted Kiss into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if you're a Kiss fan, it gives you goosebumps. It's an amazing speech.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a text message after that.
I mean, Tommy, have you ever seen the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction of Kiss where Tom Morello's talking about them?
No, I tried to find it on YouTube. I still haven't seen it yet. But I'm definitely going to keep on searching.
Yeah, it's there. And it's like everything you felt as a Kiss fan growing up and hearing people talk crap about them and critics dogging them. And it's just like, I guess as a fan, the best way you say is you feel validated or vindicated or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into our top 5 Kiss albums, and we're going to talk about some songs we like and songs we don't from each album. And we're going to let our guest Tommy Barnes start off with his number 5 album.
My
Now,
number
before
5
we get
album.
started, we want everybody to know that we don't know who's everybody's top 5 is. So
Yes.
we're just going off on what everybody is, so we can be natural.
That's exactly right. Good point. Okay, Tommy.
All right. Yeah. My top 5. At number 5, I've got Love Gun.
Love God!
I said, yo, honey, that ain't no pistol. That's mine. I said, yo, honey, that ain't no pistol. That's mine.
Love Gun.
Tommy, tell us what you remember about that album.
Oh yeah, I just remember it just great songs all through it. Some not so great, but you know, my favorite out of the whole album's got to be "Shock Me."
Yeah, I think we all agree on that one.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a song that you didn't really care for on that album?
Yeah, I guess my least favorite song on that album has got to be "Then She Kissed Me."
Oh man, I love that song.
It's all right.
But Tommy, I will admit, almost everybody I've ever met in my life that's a Kiss fan, 99% of them say they hate that song, and I love
Yeah.
that. And I love that song. I know I'm in the minority, but I loved everything about that
I think
song.
it was a great respect to Motown at the time.
Yeah,
You know, he just changed the words to make it more masculine versus feminine. So,
yeah, that's a good point. TJ, what you got at number 5?
okay, I'm going along. I'm 50% going along with Tommy, but I'm going along with Love Gun. I love that album. The artwork on it was what really got me, because think about it. You're standing there like this, and you're surrounded by women worshiping you. So I thought, man, that's got to be the life. So, great songs, great production, great sound. Paul's vocals were amazing on it. But I'm going to have to say that my favorite song on there was "Then She Kissed Me."
Oh, he's going on out on a limb there. I like it.
I'll tell you what, Tommy, I'm about to give it to you, son. Okay. If there's a lot of artists do homages to other bands and other songs and everything, of renditions and everything, and they say Paul really outdid himself on this one, even though he just changed the words a little bit. There was a really great tribute to that song. The original song is one of my favorite songs of all times. I love that song.
Great song.
Was it Martha and the Vandells, or it was Motown?
The Crystals or something.
Yeah, something like that. But shout out to them. But yeah, I thought that was if there's ever to be a rendition of that song, it was Kiss's "Then She Kissed Me." So I'm sorry, Tommy, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. And Chris, I love that song.
And once again, a very simple but effective solo by Ace Frehley in that song.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm going to go on a limb here, and the one song that I did not like, and for those that want my opinion on Kiss, is Gene. If you hear one Gene song, you've heard them all, because all it is about getting laid or something about women or anything like that.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Plaster Caster, because I just think that, you know, I respect the story behind it. I thought it was pretty cool, but just the song was just stupid. I just never got into it.
So do we want to talk about the story of that song, or do you think people know it?
What it was is he met a lady who back in the 60s or Hollywood era or something like that, she was notorious for making plaster casts of famous men's genitalia. So she finally Gene Simmons got her to do one, and he agreed to make a song out of it.
No, that's a rumor. That's not true. She never actually did Gene's. I think what it was is Gene felt left out, and he thought, oh, if I make a song about her doing mine, then maybe she'll actually ask me to do it. But she never actually did plaster for Gene.
Ever? Oh.
But, you know, I saw an interview with her, TJ, one day, and she said the one person that she did who had the largest member of all the rock. Remember, she started in the late 60s and through the 70s. The one who had the largest member, let's say, of any of the rock stars she did. You want to take a guess on who it was?
I really haven't imagined it lately. Go ahead.
No,
Surprise.
no, you take a guess.
I, Mick Jagger.
That's a good guess. Tommy, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Malik Bow.
Who? We're talking about rock stars, not NBA stars.
I know. Let me think. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. Say Jim Morrison.
Oh, that's another good guess. So we have Mick Jagger and Jim Morrison, two really good guesses. But the answer, which floored me, I never would have guessed in a million years, her answer was none other than Huey Lewis.
Wow.
She said Huey Lewis was packing up love gun.
Oh wow! So she climbed Jacob's ladder.
Oh, that's good, Tommy. I'm giving you applause on that. That's great. That's a great one.
That was perfect.
Tommy, you knocked that one out of the ballpark, buddy.
Tommy, did you ever send in your application to have one done of yours?
No, the cast they kept sending me was too short.
Oh, not enough plaster in it.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 5 album is like these gentlemen. It was Love Gun. And like TJ said earlier, as a kid in 1977, when that album came out, I might have been 5 or 6 years old, something like that. And I saw those girls in the white face paint, and they were just really well developed. And I was like, oh my goodness, look at these girls. They're hot. And they look like, they're all into Kiss. And then when I heard the song, I Stole Your Love, first song on the album, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I like the production by Eddie Kramer. Like you guys said earlier, Ace sang Shock Me. He sang it while lying on the floor. My 2 favorite songs on the album is I Stole Your Love and Shock Me. And the song I liked the least would be Tomorrow and Tonight. I just thought it was a terrible song.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Tommy, you're up, buddy. What's your number 4?
Number 4 is gonna have to be Rock and Roll Over.
Solid.
Yeah, I loved. Of course, I'm a big Gene fan, even though Ace is my favorite. Dr. Love's probably my favorite song on the album.
They call him
Dr. Love.
They call him Dr. Pepper. Now when I hear Dr. Love, I think of the Dr. Pepper commercial.
Yeah. Well, it's just basically his autobiography,
Yeah.
And, it's who he is, and, you either love him or hate him, and those of us that always enjoyed his songs, that's basically it in a nutshell.
Did you have a song on there that you weren't fond of? Or?
Yeah, Ladies' Room. I didn't really, if I had to pick one that I really didn't like that much, I guess it would be Ladies' Room. Yeah.
You didn't like the cowbell.
That one is kind of creepy.
Yeah, I just the rest of them, you're like, yeah, I can do it. In the Ladies' Room, you're like, oh, I can fast forward through that one.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that one.
But I'm telling you, I love the cowbell by Peter in Ladies' Room.
Gotta have more cowbell.
Yeah.
TJ, you're up, brother.
All right, number 4. I'm gonna go with Revenge. Love that the sound on that. That was probably, in my opinion, the only album where Kiss went really heavy metal, so to say. We all know that Kiss tried to follow the trends of what was popular at the time. So that one was a lot harder than a lot of their previous ones. And what set me off with that one was Unholy. That first opening power chord was just so solid and unbelievable that it just hit you. And the riff it just sang to you. So Great Words, it's one of the only few Gene songs that I really like. But the riff on that, I'd have to say the riff on that was really my favorite. I don't know what it is, but that's just riff was incredible.
So are there any songs on the album that you didn't care for?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Spit.
Don't mean spit to me.
Now, but before I say this though, even though I hated that song, Bruce's solo on that was really cool.
Definitely.
So, but that's spit. I spit it up.
So I think I told you before, Vinnie Vincent wrote that the music and the lyrics to Unholy. That was the last time he collaborated with Gene and Paul. And now he is no longer Vinny. I think he's Vanessa. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's official.
Yeah.
My number 4 album would be Creatures of the Night. I could have honestly put this at number 1. That's how good it is. I just love the thundering drums from Eric Carr. It sound like drums coming from the sky. I like the veracity of the guitar on this album. And I know there's about 3 or 4 different players on the album. Ace Frehley never actually played on the album, even though he's on the cover. There's rumors that Vinnie Vincent didn't even play on the album. Some people say he did. Some people say he didn't. They brought in like 3 or 4 guitarists at the time that they were trying out for the band, and they just kept some of the solos. And the most famous one would be the solo from Creatures of the Night that was done by the lead guitarist for Mr. Mister. The other song I really like on that album is Saint and Sinner. It's just a good song. It's a Gene song, but I just always felt a connection to it. And the song that I like the least is I Still Love You. It's just too drawn out, too much Paul trying to be Robert Plant. And I could skip that really easily.
Yeah. And so that song's also on a Live 3. And I think a lot of people will agree that when we see, that's one of those songs when you see a band in concert, when they play that song, it's like, okay, it's time to go to the bathroom.
Yes. TATERBUG, you're up. Number 3, man.
Number 3, man, I'm going to fall right in behind you. I'm going to say Creatures of the Night's my number 3.
And what was your first impressions of that album?
The first impressions of it, I mean, album cover was actually kind of spooky at that age. You know, I was still pretty young when that came out.
Yeah, I was 5.
Yeah. Favorite song on the album, no doubt, was War Machine.
Yeah.
That's just if that song don't catch your attention right off the bat, then dude.
I would have to say that that's probably one of the heaviest riffs they ever did.
Yeah.
That and Unholy.
Yeah. War Machine is definitely my favorite song on the album.
And to be honest, I kind of got pissed off at Iron Man, the movies, when they introduced the character War Machine, because I'm like, man, they could use the Kiss song War Machine for this character, but they used the AC/DC song War Machine, and that song is not good at all. And the Kiss War Machine song buries that song. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah.
But then I sat and thought about it, and I'm like, I think the main reason they probably didn't do it is because apparently Gene and Kiss charge a lot of money for royalties to use their song in TV shows and movies, and AC/DC doesn't charge near as much.
I can't believe they would do that.
Right.
Yeah, really. Yeah. It's not like they were selling dolls or comic books or anything like that. Why would they want royalty?
Right. Yeah. So unlike Gene to want money. Okay, so we're with TJ. He's going to take us down memory lane.
All right, number 3, I'm going to go with Dynasty. A lot of people think, that one caught hell because of everybody said it was a disco album. And I mean, there is a kind of a disco feel to it. It's not hard to admit, but when I first heard Sure Know Something, that kind of got me on the album. But I'd have to say my favorite song on that one is Magic Touch. Love Paul's vocals on that. I think in that album, he was in pure form. He was honestly in the best form of his, of the early Makeup Day career. So mixture of that and, 2000 Man, which is an unbelievably killer cover. I mean, if there's anybody to do a cover of the Rolling Stones, that was it right there. No questions asked. So, but as far as the least favorite, I'd have to say Charisma. I just never, I don't know, just it was just one of those songs that you get stuck in your head and you hate yourself for the rest of the day.
Is it his fortune or his fame, TJ?
It's I don't know. It's his charisma.
So
what is his charisma?
His charisma is that he has a lot of money.
Yeah, because was that question ever answered? What is his charisma?
No. I agree with the Ace cover of the 2000 Man. That song is way better than the original version. And I know a lot of Rolling Stone fans would get mad and roll their eyes. Whatever. It's just better.
Yeah.
And, I like the Sure Know Something. That song landed at number 42 or 41 on the chart, just outside the top 40. I thought that should have been definitely a top 40 hit. For whatever reason, it wasn't. But I believe Kiss to date has 9 or 10 top 40 singles, if you count the solo albums. But I want to give a little shout out to some people that might be listening. And it goes something like this. I've been a gambler, but I'm nobody's fool. And I sure know Blumpkin. Sure know Blumpkin. All right.
You know who you are. You know who you are.
Yes. So we're going to number 3 for me, and it's the album that saved their career. It kept them from having to get day jobs or real jobs after the first few albums didn't go over very well, and that's Alive One. And it was just so influential. It caused a live album craze throughout the 70s. And I think you can take Frampton Comes Alive, and I think Paul McCartney, UFO, a lot of great live albums out. And I think Kiss was the one that got the ball rolling on that. Not saying they were the first band ever to make a live album, but they were, I think, the first band to ever have a live album explode and get really popular like that. And my favorite songs on there are Deuce and Black Diamond. And the song that I'm not that crazy about is Got to Choose, even though I will admit it's better on the live version than it is on the album. Just kind of, I just don't like the sound of the guitar on that song for whatever reason. Now we're at TATERBUG. TATERBUG, what's your number 2 album?
Number 2 has got to be Revenge.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
You like Revenge better than She Kissed Me?
Yeah. Revenge, I mean, it's like they went back to the roots. I mean, they were just raw. Especially Bruce. They took the collar off him and told him you have free range, do what you want. And he just absolutely stepped out front. I mean, that guy just come alive in that album. My favorite song on the whole album has got to be Unholy. There's several. The whole album's good, except for maybe one song, Spit. But the rest of the album was just great, in my opinion.
Now, I learned this not too long ago, but Eric Carr did not play on that album. It was Eric Singer that did that album.
Yeah, Eric Singer, the only blonde-headed member they had.
And I think what
never thought about that.
Yeah. I think what confused me is Eric Carr was in the video for God Gave Rock and Roll to You, but he didn't play on the actual song. And he basically had to beg Paul and Gene to let him be in the video because that's when he was battling his cancer. And so they agreed to let him in the video, even though
by that time he had lost all his hair and they had to put a wig on him. And you can kind of, if you watch the video real close, you can really tell. We didn't know it at the time, but you could really tell that he was soon to go.
So he actually did play on one song on that album, and that's the Eric Carr Jam that they put on. That's just an old tape of him and Ace messing around in the studio. And I think they had Bruce Kulick come in and replace Ace's part with his own guitar playing. But yeah, Eric Carr, we miss you, man.
Yeah, totally. That's one drummer I wish I could have seen live.
I did, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yep, we both did.
So TJ, you're up, brother.
All right, number 2. I'm gonna go. This was my first Kiss album. This is what got the train rolling. Creatures of the Night.
Good.
Again, like I agree with you, Chris, when it says, you know, the album starts and it's just this blastering drums. And if you really think about it, the drum, they put so much emphasis on the drums on that album. And I think from the beginning of Creatures of the Night to the, anthem of I Love It Loud, I think that album really made Eric Carr stand out to be in the top tiers of the rock and roll metal drummers. So I'm going to go with, the lead song of Creatures of the Night because I just love the drums in it. And it was just a blistering attack. And that was a hard tie of number 1 because, like I said, that's the album that got me started. Album cover was spooky, just like Tommy said. So I got to agree with this. But the song I hate the most is Rock and Roll Hell. Again. Gene Simmons sucks. The song does not make any sense to me.
And the co-writer on that song was none other than Summer of '69's own Bryan Adams.
Yeah, I know that.
So here's what happened with that. He sent the song off to Bryan Adams to write or whatever, and they were corresponding. Anyway, basically, Bryan Adams wrote the whole song, and Bryan Adams and his writing partner at the time, and Gene didn't write anything or have anything to do with the construction of the song, but he told Bryan Adams on the Kiss album, I'm going to credit myself, even though I didn't do anything. So there you go.
Gene let him get away with that?
So, well, at that time, nobody knew who the hell Bryan Adams was. So yeah, Creatures of the Night, the album cover is really cool, and it was taken from a children's book in 1979. And if you see the cover of that children's book, it looks just like Creatures of the Night, except for obviously the faces of Kiss. I can't remember the name of the book, but that's where they got it from. So we're at my number 2 album, and it's the album that really shot them into a different level. After the success of Alive 1, they hit the studios again, this time with Bob Ezrin, and he was one of the greatest producers in music history. He did a lot of Alice Cooper albums. He did The Wall. He even did Revenge. He produced Revenge too. And another great Kiss album that's underrated, he produced The Elder. And I'm waiting for TJ's reaction there. And he just
songs about pedophiles.
He just pushed them out of their comfort zone. They said in the interviews that he put them through music theory class, and he made them just do all this stuff to become better musicians, better singers. And he took Chris's song and, put a symphony into it and became the biggest hit in their career with Beth. So, I mean, just a really good album, and it catapulted them into, arguably the most popular band in the world for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Before we get started, you said something about the children's book, and I just want to show this. This is, if y'all can see it.
Oh, good.
That's the children's book. I can read about Creatures of the Night.
Show it again.
So if you can see that and the Kiss version.
Creatures of the Night.
So you can see where that came from.
Nothing similar.
Of course. That's just coincidence, Tommy.
Yeah.
It's just coincidence.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Gene had his stack of lawyers that got him out of it.
Oh, yeah. That's why I say nothing similar.
I don't know.
Hey,
Pure coincidence.
do y'all know they got in trouble with the Monster Energy drink company when Monster came out because they're saying the cover of Kiss Monster looked just like the Monster Energy drink, so they had to go back and make some changes to the cover.
Well, that's free promotion.
Yeah.
I can't No, I don't believe that one, Chris. I don't believe Gene would ever rip somebody off.
I know.
As y'all can tell, I have a disdain for Gene.
So we're at TATERBUG's #1 album of all time.
Number 1. Let's hear it.
Number 1. All right. It go a bunch of different directions, but a little combination of makeup on, makeup off, and everything in between. Gotta go with smashes.
Smashes, thrashes, and do you wanna make my rock hard tater all night?
No.
TATERBUG, did you see those black lace panties and think of someone else?
And I picked that album not to see Paul sing and put the X in sex.
That is a
no,
great
my-
song, though. That I love that song.
Oh man,
That's
come on.
cringeworthy, man.
Yeah.
That's
That
awful.
shit, yeah.
The only thing worse than X and Sex is Rock Hard.
Oh
No,
yeah.
the video
yeah.
for Rock Hard. That's what's
No.
terrible.
The video
No
and the
doubt.
song.
No doubt. Both of those songs deserve to be on Hot in the Shade.
Hot in the
Oh,
shit.
come on.
Even Tater's taking shots at Hot in the Shade. I like it.
Favorite song on the album? I mean, it's a greatest hits album, so can you really pick one? I'm gonna pick Detroit Rock City, but the worst song by no stretch of the imagination has got to be Rock Hard.
You make Tommy rock hard tater all night.
Yeah, that was one of those fill-in songs. Hey, we got so many songs on here. Well, we need one more. Well, throw that in there.
Yeah, it's not so much. It's not so much. I think the song is crazy, but the video for that.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching Paul on there makes my hips hurt, and I'm wondering if he needed. I think he needed surgery after that one.
The only way they could have made Hot in the Shade worse is if they put Rock Hard on that album. That's the only way possible.
I think y'all are some true haters on Hot in the Shade.
TJ, what you got for #1, brother?
Okay, #1, and this is an album I cannot say there's a bad song on there. It's probably the best out of all the makeup era songs. It's the best one, and I'm going to go Hotter Than Hell. Even though that was in the early days where they didn't have a lot of money, and you got what you paid for. Just not a bad song on there. I'm sorry, Chris. Got to Choose. Love that song. Love that song. Hotter Than Hell. The whole album, start to finish. Can't beat it. So I can't say anything bad, but Chris, you and I were talking, I think the last podcast, that if they would have had Ezra produce that and they would have had a little bit more technology, that probably would have been the greatest Kiss album of all time.
Yeah, Ezra or Kramer. I feel like if they had the production off Love Gun on Hotter Than Hell, then Hotter Than Hell could have been the best Kiss album of the 70s.
Yeah. Well, you mean there was something better in the 80s that came along?
No, I'm just talking about the original.
You gonna compare it to Asylum?
You mean you don't like Crazy, Crazy Nights?
God, no.
So I got caught listening to a song off Crazy Nights yesterday. I kind of felt embarrassed. I just rolled with it.
You could sing something off Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom! All right, my #1 album of all time was the first album I ever got, and that is the great and iconic Rock and Roll Over.
Oh, yeah.
The artwork is amazing. The songs are great. When you put on that first song, I Want You, starts off slow, and then it builds up, and it just goes into this another level of heaviness. And then we got Making Love, which has a great solo by Ace Frehley on it. We got Mr. Speed, which is a really fun song. And it's got my favorite Peter Criss song of all time, Hard Luck Woman, on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just a great album.
Yeah. And I think that other than the Kiss logo, I think the artwork for Rock and Roll Over is used more times for, that was on Dimebag Darrell's guitar, and a lot of people use that artwork as, tributes to Kiss.
Absolutely. I just felt like that, once again, that album was produced by Eddie Kramer, and that production was just next level good. And I think the only song I really didn't care for was that, I think it's called See You in Your Dreams, which I believe Gene redid on his solo album. But besides that, that's just a really, really strong album.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. And there's so many underrated albums that they have out there. I mean, Dress to Kill, I wouldn't say it's in my top 5, but that wasn't a bad album. I'd put that as an honorable mention. So there's lots of them. But Tommy, I just don't agree with you how you could hate Then She Kissed Me. You and I will fight over that.
Man, I mean, that's probably a half dozen songs, that you can love or hate that they've done. I just never really cared for it.
So what you're saying is, if it's that bad, it should have been on The Elder?
Yeah, or Hot and Shade.
Okay, I'm sorry, but A World Without Heroes sounds like something Olivia Newton-John should have sang.
Yeah.
On the movie Xanadu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Xanadu. That
album's horrible, Chris. I'm sorry.
No, it's not horrible. It's got 4 to 5 really good songs. The rest of it, I agree, is throwaway. But it's got the best lyrics on any Kiss album in history, and it's because they didn't write the lyrics themselves. That's why they're so good. But yeah, they got some bad stuff there. I'm not going to argue that point, but there's some songs on there that are really, really good songs.
Well, who wrote Just a Boy? That's
I don't know. Maybe
George
Michael. Maybe, I don't know.
No, Freddie Mercury. I don't know.
Yes, got a little bit of "I Want to Break Free" vibe in it.
Yeah. It just sounds like a pedophile song. But I will say this on that song. I think that album was really where Paul wanted to be more of a performer. Maybe a opera man or something like that after, the rock and roll, because he really, really brought his voice out on that album. So I will give credit to where credit's due on that album, that Paul really tried to bring it out more on that album. But then, I guess after, Unmasked came along, and then the glam era came, and he just never had that back again, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's a good place to end this podcast. I want to thank my co-host TJ. I want to thank the one and only incomparable Tommy Barnes, aka TATERBUG. Please find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podchaser, Pod Addict, YouTube. Rate, like, subscribe, comment. Keep getting the word out, and we appreciate all of you. Until next time we see you guys, rock and roll all night
and party every day,
and listen to Kiss and Tell every day. Peace, people. Goodbye.